Yeah. I mean, it's actually not DraftKings. It's the agency they're working with, but I'm sure they probably build DraftKings for it.
Yeah.
Um, Want to do a show?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do we have 10 minutes to record?
Pretty much. All right, let's go.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 573, part of Dash Radio. I am Jay. How you doing, Mark?
Sorry. This is Jay. I'm not sure where Mark is. This is Rich Paul, Ben Simmons' agent. You said that you wanted to you represent the Nets, right? You want to talk about my client playing?
Yeah, so I heard that there was 10 days with no back pain at all, set to play game 4, elimination game. Could kind of use Ben.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I was wondering, is there a way you could pay us faster? I know you seem to. Sometimes I feel like we don't even get our direct deposit right away. Like it takes a little while, extra longer. Maybe you could front pay us.
So you want an advance on the pay without playing?
Listen. Ben Simmons is really prepared to play basketball. He's excited. He cannot wait to play for the Nets. And he's excited to do so.
So he's not even on the bench for the elimination game.
Do you think we could sign a max contract, like a 5-year? We can renew Simmons' current deal, maybe add 5 more years.
I was thinking that would be not a great idea.
You want my client to play basketball, though, right?
I want nothing more than for him to play basketball.
My client is done. He would love to play. Is there a game going on now? He would love to play for you guys.
Literally a game going on right now. Tell him to suit up, come out and play.
So Ben wasn't aware. What sport do you want him to play?
Basketball would be great.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So Ben didn't know about this. If you can probably give him maybe a heads up when there's a game, he could show. You know what? He was at a number of games recently. He's not at the game tonight, but he was at a bunch of games.
Yeah, but
you know how they say the crowd is like the sixth man?
Mm-hmm.
So Ben was like your sixth man last night.
Well, yeah, but we would literally like him to be a sixth man, on the court.
Listen, Ben, it's a lot for him to play. He will be prepared to play for. You guys have to. What are you going to offer Ben to play?
Other than the $20 million that he's getting?
Yeah, it's not always about money. What else?
Though?
What would you do for Ben?
We promise to not say disparaging things in a press conference that will make him take a year off.
It sounds like you're mocking my client, Ben. I think he's out through that. He might not be back till 2024 now.
Come on.
But he's excited to play basketball. He promises he will play basketball at some point for a team, maybe with. He promises if you guys can up his salary, maybe double it, Ben promises he'll play basketball within a 400-mile radius of a Nets game at some point in the next few years.
How about tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, tomorrow's great. I don't think there's a game scheduled. So, that was the game he was available for today. But you know what? I'll tell you what. Ben has told me already, if the Nets don't win tonight, if Celtics win tonight, he'll be ready for Game 5.
Okay, the one that won't exist.
What do you mean? Well, now my client's ready. I'm sorry, your team is not available.
So you're going to turn this around on us now?
Listen, It's not my fault. The Nets. It's embarrassing, really. Ben was all ready for Game 5.
I have a feeling he wasn't. Okay. Look,
it's just a fun conversation.
it
I don't know.
really is.
I'm just having fun with the like.
So, do you know what they announced today?
It was mental issues. It's mental issues also.
They're back to mental. They said
they never really left mental.
They
you
said
know, a
they
lot
want
of people
to
say
discuss
back.
how to get him back physically and mentally for the game when he was supposed to be 3 hours away from playing, and all of a sudden we're back to mental issues.
You know, there are real back issues, but a lot of people say a lot of the back issues are in your head. I don't know if there ever was a back issue.
I don't know if there was either, because it when the summer first happened, he tried like 4 different things. Like, he said it was his elbow, then he said it was his back, and then he said it was a mental issue. So, like, I think he's just throwing stuff at the wall at this point.
I mean, I don't know what the Durant just missed a very key free throw. This could be over. Oh, this is looking over. 13 seconds to go. It's 113 to 109.
So, congratulations to the 15 playoff teams that did not get swept.
I actually want to congratulate the that's a good thing to congratulate. I also want to congratulate the Nets on winning the summer of 2019. That was it summer of 19 or summer 18? When did they get Durant? Yeah, 19.
Mm-hmm.
They really that what a win they had. Let's see, Durant and Kyrie first year. Well, Durant didn't even play because he's injured. Second year, they lost in the second round. And third year, they're going to lose the first round. What a coup for them.
So, can we have New York back? Because I heard they took over New York.
So we're doing our segment called Cutting Down the Nets, where we make fun of the Nets.
It's been a long time.
We're bitter and we're jerks and whatever. The Knicks aren't playing.
The Nets fans have been talking trash all year, and they ended up with the same amount of playoff wins as the Knicks. So we're doing Cutting Down the Nets.
I have to say, like, the Ben Simmons, the Harden. I mean, the Phillies going to make it to the second round. I mean, Harden hasn't played that great in the series, but the Harden trade for the Nets looks terrible so far. And maybe Simmons will be good next year, but they could not have gotten a worse return. Currently, basically traded James Harden for Seth Curry.
So it's October 15th of last year, and I tell you that at the end of the season, the Knicks are going to have a better record than the Lakers and have the same amount of playoff wins as the Nets. How excited are you?
Super. Oh my God, the game's actually over. Well, it's. Oh, they call the foul. It's almost 7 seconds to go. I would be super excited, but I would be super excited. I can't believe LeBron and Durant will have 0 wins in the playoffs this year.
That's crazy. It really is.
It really is crazy. I mean, LeBron could feel like I'm in the league for 8 million years, and Durant's been in the league for a while also. But clearly, Durant is falling off, or his team is.
I mean,
what? Actually, he's still obviously rarely good, but he's not the way LeBron could carry a team at this age, at least. Durant cannot carry a team that same way.
As you're saying this, he has 36, 7, and 9.
But he's not carrying, like, LeBron carried a trash last year in Cleveland. He carried a trash Cleveland team to the finals. Durant can't carry a team past the first round.
So
he can't carry a team to a victory in the playoffs.
Is this a Durant thing or is this a Celtics defense thing?
The Celtics defense looks awesome. Bill Simmons, 3 games into the series, was calling the Celtics defense that has potential to be an all-time great defense. Which I thought, I'm like, could you wait till they got to the second round before you're calling them an historic defense?
I mean, they are pretty crazy. Grant Williams, I saw him a couple plays. Durant tried to go right at him, and he stayed in front of him the whole time, and like, it was super impressive.
Does this give credence that the Knicks should be building through defense?
I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like that's Tibbs. I mean, the 2 years Tibbs has been here, the defense has been much better than the offense, and obviously the offense needs to catch up. But like, to convert this to a Knicks talk a little bit.
yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot wrong with the roster. I know there's a lot of young guys with potential, but I don't know the ceiling on a lot of these young guys. I like them, and I think they're part of a team. But
You wanna go back, do you want to go back to trashing the Nets? It's basically over. They're about to be swept. They completely. If they trade Ben Simmons for CJ McCullough, would they make the second round?
If who?
If they traded Ben Simmons, they traded James Harden for CJ McCollum.
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, I don't
mean,
know if
that
they beat the Celtics, but I think they would be a better team.
I mean, they'd be a lot better.
You're
team.
replacing CJ McCollum with like nothing.
I mean, really, because like Andre Drummond, he was in the trade also. He's a 0 right now. Steph Curry's a good 3-point shooter, but he's also like 6'1".
I'd love to have Curry on the team. Curry's good.
But they made a point also, like the Nets have built. They have Durant, Kyrie, and a bunch of guys in basketball. The rest of the roster in basketball terms is just short. Like they don't have a. It's a poorly built roster.
They are kind of small, and they don't have a lot of defense. I mean, you know, Patty Mills, Curry, like these aren't guys you're like, oh, they're gonna step up on defense.
Right. They also should have Jarrett.
I don't know if you're.
I was gonna say they gave Jarrett Allen away for nothing.
I know. I don't know if you're watching the game, but they were like, "Oh, Blake's coming in for defense. He's gonna."
He drew a charge. That was amazing.
And like, oh, that's what he does. He draws charges. It's like,
yeah. How amazing he drew a charge. So with 2.8 seconds to go, it's a 3-point game. The Nets are praying for it's somehow to pull this out, but I would be shocked if they pull this out.
It's over. You're behind. It's over.
Oh, it's actually over?
Yeah, they lost by 4.
Oh, well. Yes. I can't. I'm can we just bask in this the rest of the episode? I have to say, I'm just a jackass, but I freaking love the fact that they lost.
Well, again, like there was so much trash talking going on from Nets fans that I think this is pretty fitting.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, they got Durant, they got Kyrie. It is produced. You have an all-time great player in Durant, and I guess Kyrie obviously is a fantastic player as well. And you've gotten nothing from it. The results actually are worse than the Garnett Pierce trade. At least that team. Well, I guess that team went to the second round. That team didn't really go anywhere either.
No, but I mean that team, you got those guys at like 35 years old, and you knew the window was like tiny. You got Durant and Irving thinking you're going to have a dynasty.
So if you're a Net fan, not that you feel good about tonight or the season, but do you feel good about next season? Are you like, okay, we're going to get 10 next season?
All right, let's do the positives and negatives on this.
Okay, on positive, negatives on what? On the just getting Durant and Kyrie?
Well, I mean, like a positive would be Durant is still one of the better players in the league. Even if he's taking a little bit step back, he's still like top 10.
Net positive also would be that Kyrie likely will play him the whole season as opposed to sitting out half the season because they won't be the COVID restriction next year.
Right.
So they might have a chance to gel a little more.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, a fake back injury should be better by next season.
I mean, he can't have a 2-year, like, I'm upset because somebody said a mean thing about me. He can't miss 2 years from that, right?
I don't know what the hell's wrong with Ben Simmons. Clearly some kind of mental issues. But holy who knows? He sat out the entire season, Jay. Like, he has not played a game this season. It's absurd.
Do you know what I'm feeling really?
He could just sit out the rest of his career. I mean, who knows?
Do you know what I'm feeling really good about?
Not having any of these guys on the Knicks?
No, on draft day saying I think that Ingram's going to have a better career than Simmons. I'm feeling really good about that call.
Oh, you made that call?
I did.
I don't remember. But
and
that's
it wasn't looking good
now.
for a few years. and I kept quiet about it. But you can go back.
So in theory, all three guys will be available to play basketball next season. The Nets could probably sign one or two guys in the offseason. Like they don't have much in terms of cap space, but they can improve this roster with some
a little bit. They don't have much. They don't have much flexibility. They don't have really. They're only good young guys, basically like Claxton and Thomas, I guess.
They should bring back Westbrook when he gets bought out.
Bren said Ben Simmons is the real problem here. He could have guarded 1 through 5. Instead, he sits there with all his jewelry and fancy clothes, getting paid out the ass.
Yeah, except for tonight where he didn't even sit there.
He couldn't even do that.
He couldn't even do that. He could not even put the fancy jewelry to sit there because the back injuries.
I mean, if you have a back injury, you could lay down. You could stand up. You can get a comfy pad for your seat. There's plenty of options to support your team in an elimination game.
I mean, if you're Durant, how angry are you? Because Durant is still like near the top of his game. And like this season, he's like, okay, we're gonna go for the title. We have an amazing team. This is gonna be great. Wait, Kyrie is not gonna come to the games. He's not allowed to come to. This is ridiculous. Okay, finally we're figuring out the Kyrie situation. Harden doesn't want to be here anymore. Harden's out of shape. Fine, we got rid of Harden. Who are we bringing in? Another guy that can't play? What the fuck?
I mean, because the rumor is Harden got mad that Kyrie couldn't play, so he wanted out.
Well, which is understandable. He's like, I joined this team, and this guy won't get a goddamn vaccine so I can freaking play basketball together.
Right, but then they got a guy who doesn't want to play. And
it's almost like it's the karma for Durant saying, hey, Golden State beat us. I'm going to join them. They beat us. I'm going to go join them. A historic team. Because he made such a just crap shit move, he's getting just totally fucked by karma.
It's pretty bad.
This really will, like, whatever Durant's legacy is, and he'll go down as an all-time great player, but his legacy is going to be really tarnished by, like, the shit, basically, that since the Nets basically will tarnish his legacy.
So Nick's third quarter on Twitter asks, how bad does getting bounced in the first round hurt Durant's legacy?
It has to hurt. I mean, you would figure if like the Nets somehow won a title, people would be talking about Durant as being a top 5 player of all time. Definitely not a top 5. I mean, arguably top 10, maybe. I don't know. Is he top 10?
It's close, but
it's hard to put him. It's hard to put him there where other guys got titles and didn't need to do like the shit he did.
I don't like the whole title argument, but
for an all-time player, like, doesn't the title make a big difference? I know you have to have a supporting cast and so forth.
Yeah, it's like, do you ding Kevin Garnett for only having one championship when he was stuck in Minnesota with Wally Zerbiak as his best teammate for like 10 straight years? Like,
totally fine. But once he joined the Celtics, they won a title and they were a contender from there.
Yeah, but like
you gave him the roster, and suddenly they were like, Durant had a great roster at OKC. He had an historic roster in Golden State before he even got there.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to the Nets. He helps build this roster. He gets Kyrie and helps get Harden there. And I mean, like, you have the ability to kind of, like, with free agency and moving around, to get the roster you want. LeBron moved around a lot, and like at least the Laker thing could be a complete disaster if not for the fact that they won a goddamn title.
I guess that's the thing with trying to form super teams. So like people do remember the championships, but it also hurts your legacy if you form a super team and then do nothing with it.
Yeah,
but I mean, on the other hand, like, are we going to be like, wow, it was super impressive that LeBron just kept teaming up with multiple all-stars in a weak conference. And, like, yeah, it's impressive that he made the finals every year, but, like, it was also really stacked in his favor most of those years.
I mean, he carried a Cleveland team to the finals, the original Cleveland team.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the finals like 9 straight years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
And he was the best player on all those teams. I like. Let's not.
I'm not saying
whatever
that's not impressive. I'm just saying, like, are you really like, oh my god, I can't believe that those Heat teams made the finals? Like,
Well,
not
at least
that
they did. I mean, based on how these super teams look right now, like, at least they figured out how to actually do it. Like the Nets put together a super team, and they don't get out of the first round this year. So here's a question for you.
Okay.
Two different situations. First, the Lakers. In the summer, I saw this on Twitter today. The summer of 2017, the Lakers had D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Jordan Clarkson, and the second overall pick, which they could have drafted Tatum. Mm-hmm. They obviously turned that into Anthony Davis, LeBron James. What do you think of, like, if they could go back? Would you rather roll with this roster, or do you like the fact they did all the moves they've made?
They won a championship.
Yeah, end of story. Absolutely end of story. You won a title. Doesn't matter what else you could have done. Whereas the Nets, in the summer of 19, was it 19? Am I right in the year?
I think so.
Summer of 19. If Durant and Kyrie call up and the Nets just go, you know what? Pass. Are they better off?
Yeah, well, I think they're in a similar position. Like, I don't know how far they're getting with Jared Allen and Dinwiddie and LeVert.
I guarantee they probably have a similar number of playoff wins.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably like a first-round exit either way. So it's like it's about a wash.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they have a couple extra draft picks.
It's less embarrassing.
Definitely less embarrassing.
I mean, if they got swept in the first round with Allen
time,
and LeVert, you're like, okay, good effort.
Next time a superstar goes, you know what? I'm not going to go. And not that the Knicks would have worked out so much better, but like, I'm going to go to the Nets. I'm going to make the Nets cool. See how that goes for you. And again, it's not even the Nets' fault. I mean, it's not the Nets. It's joining a guy like if Durant had, you think he went to the Knicks, it would be different? I assume, let's just say Kyrie doesn't come. Durant just comes to the Knicks without Kyrie.
Oh, without Kyrie.
Yeah. It really may be him titching his wagon that going with Kyrie was probably the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to just move on, I guess?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So Bren says, early finals predictions, I have Warriors beating Celtics in 7.
That seems pretty reasonable now. Celtics look goddamn awesome. So I think the Celtics, well, do the Celtics look better than the Bucks? Is really the question now.
Well, before the playoffs started, I had the Warriors beating the Bucks.
Right.
So I don't feel as good about the Bucks now that Middleton's out.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty big loss. I mean, the injuries, the Suns might not get out of the first round.
Pretty much the top 4 teams in each conference have a major guy out.
Yeah. Should we go through the series real quick?
Sure.
Okay. So Celtics that's who you think's gonna win.
So that was the only sweep in the whole first round.
I cannot believe that was the only sweep. Like, of all the sweep, yeah, okay. I guess move on to the next one. Let's staying in the East. Sixers, Raptors. The Raptors are up right now in the third quarter. Sixers are up 3-1 overall. If the Raptors hold on, it'd be 3-2. Anything you want to say? I mean, like, can you envision the Raptors actually coming back in this? The Sixers are going to win this series, right?
I think the Raptors are too banged up. I mean, now Van Fleet's banged up. It's
Embiid is banged up also. He has that torn
right. He has a torn ligament in his thumb. So I mean, but like, there's like 3 guys out on the Raptors right now. So
yeah, I can't see that. I agree. I cannot see that being it'd be hard to see them actually come back and winning. And they're down. Bucks, Bulls. That series is basically over, right?
Yeah. Even without Middleton, the Bulls are a different team without Ball, and they're gonna lose.
Ball hasn't been there in a long time.
Yeah.
By
the way, we're having a vintage playoff hardened performance right now. 2 for 8, plus minus is -9.
Whose vintage performance is better? James Harden or Chris Paul? Chris Paul went for a big 4 points for the Suns last night.
It's like
huge. We you know what, like, Devin Booker's out. Chris Paul, you gonna step up? Yeah. Should I get 4 points there or just get injured? What's the last series in the East? Who am I missing? It was the Nets, the Bucks, the
You're missing the Hawks and the Heat.
Oh, okay. That's almost over. Also, by Trae Young is shooting like he's Julius Randle being guarded by the Hawks.
See, do you know that Kevin Knox has outscored Trae Young in 2 of the 4 games so far?
Kevin Knox, give him a max contract, Hawks.
Kevin Knox also scored 12 points in 4 minutes and managed to still have a 0 plus minus.
That's about the best of Kevin Knox.
I mean, that stat I think sums up Kevin Knox more than any other stat.
It's also, I mean, it's probably not his fault completely, but are there still Knicks fans who are like not Knox stands where they're like, if only the Knicks had just developed Knox, he'd be a goddamn all-star right now.
I don't know. I see these posts, but I can't tell if they're like being sarcastic or they're just hating on Trae, or they really.
Realistically, I can see Knox and Frank Ntilikina going head to head in the finals in like Europe.
Yeah.
They both should be out of the league pretty soon. I'm not sure who will be out first, but okay, going to the West, the Suns Pelicans is pretty darn interesting. Are you surprised the Suns look so anemic without Devin Booker?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they would look really bad without Paul just because of their backup point guards, but I didn't think the whole team would fall apart without Booker. This is pretty insane. And if Hayes doesn't get ejected in Game 3, they could be up 3-1 right now.
It's weird because I was like, going in, I'm like, the Suns are really deep. And then Booker's gone, I'm like, the Suns have like no one.
I know, it's so weird. It's really strange.
Like the Suns, like in some ways, they're like, do we really need DeAndre Ayton? Devin Booker goes down. They're like, Ayton, can you score 50 tonight? It is crazy. And the Pelicans. So the Pelicans they finished the year 36-46, not a very good record. But once they got CJ McCollum, their record was actually pretty decent. They actually had their second half of the year was they had a terrible start to the year. Their second half was actually pretty good. They have a decent team.
Yeah, there was something like 2-16 to start off the season. So, McCollum changed the whole dynamic, and then they got a couple of nice pieces. You got Ingram, Valanciunas.
They're a pretty decent team. Like they're not an. I mean, the Suns with Booker beat them. The Suns without Booker, there's a chance the Pelicans are going to win the series.
There is, and they're undrafted. Guy is Alvarado.
Alvarado, yeah,
he's been awesome.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. I mean, and the Pelicans, you think for next season, they might be even better once they get their 300-pound man back.
Maybe, or flip him for something.
I don't think you can flip a guy that big. Do you think? So Zion apparently, like in pre-games or like they've seen, like he seems like he's close to being back. I guess he's waiting until the season's actually over. Do you think the Pelicans, if they get past the Suns, will that talk Zion into coming back for the Pelicans? Or does he want out? Or I don't even through all these rumors, I don't know what the real story is. Obviously,
I don't either. It seems like he wants out, but what is he mad at? That they were so very patient while he got 5 injuries? Like,
I just want to be in a bigger market, but I don't know. So let's say Zion comes back and actually is healthy next season. You add Zion to this team, you're a finals contender.
Yeah, I mean, it's super impressive what they've done over a short amount of time.
I mean, they really, I don't know if finals contender is going too far, but you're a serious, yeah. Okay, so the next series, Mavericks versus the Jazz. What do you think? Series is tied 2-2.
2-2.
Without Doncic, Jalen Brunson looked goddamn awesome. I guess Jalen Brunson, he's a free agent, so it's not like Dallas can do everything they can to keep him, but Dallas is going all in to keep him.
Yeah, it sounds like there was some friction. I read an article today that was saying that they offered him. They didn't offer
for Tyrese Halliburton and some draft picks, right?
Well, they didn't offer him anything initially, and he said once the season starts, we're not going to talk contracts. And they waited till after the trade deadline because they were trying to get Halliburton, and then they made him an offer. And he said no, because he said, I told you guys once season starts, we're not going to talk contracts. And now they're in a position where he's a free agent and he can leave. On the other hand, it seems like it's a good fit for both teams. So, and they could offer that 5th year. I mean, I think Dallas is probably going to do whatever it takes. So I think the only way Brunson leaves is if he wants to go to a different team.
He wants to leave. He's a free agent, so if he wants to leave, he can leave.
Money, but I don't.
Well, I don't know if Dallas. I don't know if they can go. Dallas is their cap is they're pretty like they don't have that much space to like sign him. I think Dallas like can't offer him like a max deal or anything.
I think they could offer him at least $20 million.
Yeah, but I mean like he's going to get $20 million on the market also. The Knicks will offer him $20 million.
Yeah, I just
if the Knicks can't do it unless they get a sign and trade also.
It's just the thing with these. It's rare that a player will leave a team unless it gets really toxic. Like, it's a good team. Like, the Mavericks are a good team. They're probably going to be at least second round. It's very rare that a big piece of that team is just going to walk for no reason.
Right. Unless he really doesn't like Luka, he's like, I get to play against a guy who might be a generational talent. Like, we have a bright future. Why would I leave?
Yeah, so I don't see them leave, especially if they end up winning this series. I mean, Luka missed the first 3 games, and it's still 2-2.
And the Jazz, if Jazz lose, are they breaking things up? Or the Knicks are they going to give away Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks for Cam Reddish? I
mean, I think the Jazz definitely blow it up. I still don't see the pieces coming to the Knicks, but if I was the Jazz, you would have to blow it up at this point, right?
I mean, I don't know how you blow it up either. You're not gonna you have a good team.
But that
do you move Gobert? Which piece do you move? Do you go off of if anything? I think you try to move Gobert.
Of course, he's old. He's older, and he is not a good matchup for a lot of playoff series. So you try to move Gobert, and if you can't, then maybe you just have to go the nuclear option. But you definitely start with Gobert and see what happens.
I mean, he's one of the best centers in the league. I think you can get something for him, even though he doesn't necessarily look very good in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's kind of a
series?
Big deal.
What series are we left with?
We're left with the Warriors,
Golden State.
The Nuggets.
Okay, so So Nuggets, like, you don't blow anything up because you're like, well, we're getting these 2 pieces back next year. But the Nuggets, I mean, the series is basically over.
It's going to be a gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep. I don't think the Nets got a gentleman's sweep. No. And any others left? Who am I messing with?
So Jorge writes.
Timberwolves, Grizzlies.
Oh yeah. Timberwolves,
that's 2-2. That's an interesting. The Timberwolves, another team that's lapped the Knicks. They look pretty good.
That's what happens when you nail a draft pick. I know it's easier when you have the number 1 draft pick, but Edwards looks amazing.
I mean, they got that number 1 pick. They got Towns the number 1 pick. The Knicks can't go higher than 3. And the Knicks, I mean, whatever you say about tanking, the Timberwolves were bad for a long time. They look pretty good now.
Yeah, they made some nice moves around the periphery, and then they nailed a couple draft picks, and that's all. That's all it takes.
Yeah, Knicks got to nail a draft pick. That's what it comes down to. Forgetting the tanking, the Knicks have picked number 11 in the draft. They have to nail this pick. Any fan that wants the Knicks to trade this pick, if you're trading up, fine. If you're trading down, it's freaking insane.
Yeah. If
you're trading down, you're saying we had the rosters is good enough to contend right now, and it's just not.
Exactly.
We have some questions. You want to do some questions?
Yeah. Jorge writes, "Hey guys, hope you had a good Easter Passover. Thank you. My question is, how much joy does the failure of the Nets bring you? They pretty much destroyed the future for one playoff series win, which is only one more than the Knicks."
I'd say it almost gives me as much joy as a Knicks playoff victory would get, just because what an absolute failure the Nets experience has been. It's not quite a Knicks victory. I'm very happy about this though. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a lot more enjoyment out of it than I thought. All right, before we do the rest of the questions, the NBA playoffs means next level basketball. Get in on the first round action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. You'll win no matter what. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on NBA hoops with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Plus, each day of the first round, get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code NYKP. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the first round of the playoffs and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code NYKP at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Wyoming. 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, New Hampshire. 888-789-7777. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-877-77-STOP in Louisiana, and 1-877-8-HOPE-NY in New York.
Can you imagine, Jay, if you before the series had bet the Celtics to sweep the Nets? You would have won so much money.
That would have been, a very ballsy yet lucrative payoff.
I would guess if you placed $10 on that, DraftKings would have given you at least $1,000 for getting that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Michael B. Sorden writes on Twitter, it's probably been asked, but would we rather stay with Quickly or as our point guard and see how he develops, or trade assets to go after Brunson, or Mitchell pushing Quickly back to the bench?
I'm leaning towards Quickly at this point.
Well, Brunson, they wouldn't have to really trade assets. It'd be a sign and trade, but I don't know if the Knicks have to give up major assets to get him. I mean, just they wouldn't do it, I think, if they had to give up major assets. Brunson and Quickly could play. They play together. There's no issue with them playing together. Brunson plays with Doncic. There'd be no issue with his development. As far as Mitchell, I don't know if going all in to get him makes any sense. If you could trade assets, Jay, to get Mitchell and pair him with RJ, would you do that? You keep RJ. You trade, let's say you traded Obi. Let's say you trade Obi Quickly and some picks to get Donovan Mitchell. But you get to pair Mitchell and RJ. Are you doing that?
Yeah, I would do that.
I don't know if that would get it done or anything, but I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how Quickly develops, and Obi, like, there's some good. Let's just keep building, basically.
The thing is, the Knicks aren't there right now, and they're very young, and so if it's gonna be like a roster gutting trade, I would rather just do another year of development and see what happens.
Right. The Knicks really need, like, you need to find out how close you are with this young roster before you do any major trades, I feel like.
You don't want to pull the trigger and then just end up with a star with a bunch of garbage again, and then, like, what does that get you? A first round exit, maybe?
I mean, Quickly, Obi showed a lot of promise at the end of the year. RJ showed a lot of promise in like second half of the season, or basically post January. This roster might look really interesting. If they can move on. Moving on from Julius Randle seems like the biggest thing they need to do.
Yeah, I'm not saying this young roster is garbage. I'm just saying if you trade a bunch of pieces for a star, then you might have garbage left.
I mean, let's just say you trade. Let's say you just emptied your roster to get Durant and Kyrie. Where would that get you? Whatever, rights. I think basically what we're learning from the playoffs is that having a fuller roster might be better.
Yeah.
Whatever, rights. I mean, also the Celtics have having Tatum and Jaylen Brown really helps. And Marcus Smart was like the number 5 pick in the draft, so that was helpful also.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you have to have a lot of pieces because as you see, injuries happen. You have Lowry in Miami and Middleton in Milwaukee. Like, those teams look like they're still going to win the series because they have other pieces. If you just are a one-star team and that guy rolls an ankle or something, you're just finished.
You know what team I find interesting in Miami? Miami's playing Duncan Robinson $20 million a year. They're barely playing him. They're paying Tyler Hero, who's like they're up, had a great season, barely played last game because other guys were just like they're two undrafted guys, Max Strus and Gary Vincent are playing really well, playing better defense, so they're playing more. I love teams that can find ways to find guys, just really knows how to develop a roster.
Well, also they're not like, well, we paid Robinson a lot of money. We're just going to play him forever. They're like, no, Strus is out playing him. Strus gets the minutes now. Like, I like
right. And not that the Knicks, I like the fact that they're even like Tyler Hero. You're playing well. This guy's not playing you tonight. We're just going to go with who's playing best.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it makes your team better too, because they know they have to keep playing at a high level to keep their roster spot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that goes back to Tibbs is going to be back next year. There's no point in debating whether he should or not be back. It would be great if Tibbs almost treated the veterans like he treats the rookies. That might just produce a better roster.
Yeah.
He's got to find a way to do that. I mean, I guess at the same time, Miami's not benching Jimmy Butler, but I guess Randall's not Jimmy Butler. Yeah, whatever, right. Who will the Knicks coach halfway through the upcoming season? Who will be the Knicks coach halfway through the upcoming season? What do you think, Jay? Will it be Tibbs by the All-Star break? Post All-Star break, will Tibbs be coaching the Knicks?
I think he will. I think he gets another full season. I don't think he makes it to a fourth season if the Knicks don't make the playoffs again, though.
I think the Knicks will be a playoff team next year, or at least in the play-in. It'd be hard for me to foresee the Knicks being bad enough that he gets fired mid-season. Yeah, whatever. Also writes, which vet are we trading Cam Reddish? Are we trading Cam Reddish for? And how many days before that vet is injured for the season for 7 or 14 days? Okay. Do you think you can? Are you trading Cam Reddish for a vet?
What vet are you going to get for Cam Reddish?
I don't know. I have to say Cam Reddish. We're just going to.
Does Cam Reddish have that much market value at this point?
I don't. I mean, he had the market value to get Kevin Knox,
right,
and a highly protected first round pick. So, and that was before. If anything, like his value is probably a little bit lower now. Knicks and Knicks third quarter writes, how bad does getting bound? Oh, you read that one already. On Facebook, Oscar writes, given how one side the first round matchups in the East have been so far, do we have less regrets about the Knicks not making it to playoffs?
I mean, it's still a very disappointing Knicks season, but
if I'd say getting the number 11 pick and also the Knicks knowing they need to shake up the roster is probably greater. Like the Knicks, if the Knicks had gotten the 8th seed, it would have been fool's gold. They would have got bounced and they would have said like everything's fine. Maybe they're going to make some major changes.
Yeah.
Andrew writes, is it good to see the Knicks front office out and about at the Mavs Jazz series?
Was pretty interesting. Hopefully they were putting out some feelers.
Yeah. George writes, they're probably scouting Dwight Powell for missing the free throws. That's a pretty good one. Anthony writes, how do you guys feel about the playoffs so far?
I think they've been pretty good. I mean, there's usually a couple sweeps, and a lot of these series have been competitive. We had some surprise competitive series. I mean, I really thought Phoenix was going to sweep New Orleans, so that's been fun. Same with Minnesota putting up a good fight.
I mean, this year the only sweep was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. The only sweep was the one I actually wanted it to be a sweep. So, and then we're 6 minutes away from the Raptors going to within 3-2. So, yeah, really good first round so far. It's like the individual games. A lot of them haven't been close, but the series are close.
Yeah, exactly. Q Wang writes, which veteran point guard should we go for? 1, Kyrie. Yes or no, Jay?
No, thank you.
Lillard. Do you want to pay Dame like $50 million?
No. He's over 30 now too.
He had a bad year also. I mean, he was injured, coming off a major injury. No. Westbrook, who you probably can get. Westbrook, you can probably get him a minimum deal after the Lakers buy him out.
I don't see what that does at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Schroeder.
Isn't it insane
Yeah.
the list of players that were just named, and Schroeder's probably like the best option?
You know what's insane also?
Hmm.
The Celtics are like, hey, we're gonna get rid of Kemba and
Kyrie.
no, I was gonna say the what's his
Schroeder?
name on the Knicks? On the Knicks.
Kemba
Our
Walker.
our 3-point record guy.
Oh, Fournier.
I'm a little sleep deprived tonight. So they're like, let's get rid of Kemba and Fournier. We'll turn this into one of the best teams in the NBA by just removing these guys from the roster. And Knicks are like, we got them. It's fine.
They also got rid of Kyrie and Schroeder the year before.
Yeah, they got rid of Kyrie, Schroeder, Fournier, and Kemba, and now they're awesome. Q Wang writes also, Kevin Knox just dropped more points than Randall and LeBron combined in the playoffs this season. He also outscored Trae Young Saturday night's game despite playing limited minutes. And hashtag GOAT. Q Wang also writes, which young point guard should we go for? Jalen Brunson, Colin Sexton, or Tyrus Jones?
Maybe Tyus Jones.
I don't know if they're gonna. I mean, in theory, Tyrus Jones is the most gettable because you think like, well, we can give you a much bigger role than Memphis is giving you.
Mm-hmm.
Rumor is that Cleveland's going to try to keep Colin Sexton, though I don't know if that makes sense for them. Like, do you really want two small guards?
I mean, I guess if you just say like our other three guys are so big, we could just funnel everybody into them.
That's true. And Brunson, I think all the teams are going to try to keep these players. It's probably IQ. I'd say like IQ's our starting point guard next year, right, Jay?
I think
like
so.
even the season hasn't started, but like, is there any other scenario where it's going to work out?
Not really. I mean, like all these, like, hey, we should get this guy. Like, you're assuming the other team wants to get rid of that guy.
Well, I mean, they're all. I mean, like, I think Sexton's a restricted free agent. Brunson's a free agent. Jones, I think, is also a free agent.
Yeah, but like the advantage.
But yeah,
still
they're all
goes
gonna
to
like.
the-
We're not the only suitor for these guys, and their teams want to retain them.
All right.
Well, what's up?
Hmm?
You okay? You just like kind of just seem like you just were part of a different conversation.
Oh no, wife's home and talking in the background. This is why I try and end the show before people come home.
Okay, that's fine. George writes Nets collapse. That's goddamn awesome. But yeah, so Sexton's clearly. I mean, sorry. Quickly is probably the starter. You know what's going to be this? How mad? Like, is it a reason to cancel the podcast if Burks is our starting point guard next year?
Yeah, I think it is because it's proven not to work, and if they just go for a whole season with something that clearly didn't work this season, I think we put up with enough. We deserve like something good. Been doing this. For
So the Knicks are going to win the
seasons.
title next year, right? Let's
Yeah.
just make that prediction right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks they have a better roster than all these teams.
So good.
So good. If you remove Randall, it's just like the Celtics getting rid of Fournier and Kemba. You remove Randall, it's going to unlock the greatness.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
I was like, Jay just wants to end the show right now.
I do.
Okay.
Because it's just gonna get louder and louder in here now. All right. So thanks for listening, everybody. We will be back soon. Check out our comedy show, Brink of Sanity. We will be doing a lot more of those. I know I've said that the last 2 weeks, and we haven't posted a new episode, but we will.
Very soon. New episode starting next week.
Actually, this week. I'm doing one without you.
Really? Which night?
Thursday.
Son of a bitch. Actually, I'm dying to listen. That's great.
Good. We will have Martin and the Doc on.
Whoa.
Yep. All right. So stay tuned for
Motherfucker.
that.
I can't believe I'm missing this.
All right. We'll be back soon. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining in the chat, too, by the way.
Bye.